What if your brain were sending you warnings through smell, ones no one else could detect? Not through memory loss, not confusion, just a strange, lingering scent only you notice, even when nothing's actually there. For thousands of people, this is exactly how it starts. Phantom odors aren't just odd or annoying. They're often one of the very first signs that something deeper is happening inside the brain, long before anyone even thinks about dementia. In this video, you'll learn what to watch for and why ignoring these mysterious smells could mean missing your only early warning. Number 1. Smoke or something burning. Dorothy, 74, began smelling cigarette smoke everywhere, even though nobody around her smoked and there was never any fire. She cleaned her entire house, changed the air filters, even called the fire department, but the smell stayed. It followed her from place to place, day and night, until she started doubting her own senses. 2 years later, she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Researchers have found that phantom smoke smells are among the most common reports from people developing early cognitive decline. That's because the olfactory cortex, the brain's smell processing center, is one of the first areas affected in Alzheimer's. As nerve cells in that region start breaking down, the brain can send out false signals, like the smell of smoke or burning, even when the air is perfectly clear. This isn't imagination. It's your brain malfunctioning, sending a warning through a sense most people never think to question. Number 2. Rotten eggs or sulfur. Henry, 77, kept saying his home smelled like a gas leak, especially sulfur or rotten eggs. He even had the gas company inspect the lines twice. Nothing. The smell came and went, stronger at night, following him wherever he went. No one else could smell it. 3 years later, he was diagnosed with Lewy body dementia. Clinical studies link phantom odors of sulfur, rotten eggs, or gas to disruptions in the brain's limbic system, the part that manages emotion, memory, and sensory processing. These aren't just unpleasant smells, they're brain misfires, early signs that your sensory processing is breaking down. What feels like an environmental problem is often the brain creating something that isn't real, and sadly, most people miss this clue until it's too late. If you're finding this video helpful so far, type 1. If not, type 0. Your feedback helps us make these videos even better. Number 3. Garbage or a dead animal. Melinda, 70, began noticing a strong smell of rotting meat in her kitchen, her car, even on her clothes. Her family couldn't smell anything. Nobody ever found a cause. At first, doctors thought it was linked to depression, but 4 years later, she was diagnosed with early-onset dementia. Recent research shows that phantom odors of decay, like garbage, dead animals, or rotting meat, are closely tied to olfactory hallucinations in people at risk for frontotemporal dementia. These smells activate primitive brain areas related to survival instincts, and as degeneration sets in, those regions misfire, signaling danger where there is none. Unlike real odors, these phantom smells can linger for hours or even days, leaving people anxious, confused, or too embarrassed to bring it up. That silence delays diagnosis, while the brain keeps declining quietly. Number 4. Chemical or cleaning product smells. Carlos, 75, was certain he could smell bleach or ammonia, especially in public places like buses and waiting rooms. His wife thought it would pass, but it didn't. He began avoiding certain spaces altogether, saying they reeked of chemicals. Eventually, he refused to go to restaurants or medical offices, insisting the smell was overwhelming. 3 years later, he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Medical reviews show that phantom chemical odors, like bleach, paint, or strong cleaning agents, often appear in the early stages of cognitive decline. This may happen because damaged olfactory nerve cells fire irregularly, or because connections between the brain's sensory and emotional centers become distorted. What makes these phantom scents so distressing is that they can trigger nausea or panic, even though nothing is there and nobody else smells a thing. Number 5. Burnt rubber or melted plastic. Teresa, 78, told her son she kept smelling burning rubber in the kitchen, worried her toaster was malfunctioning. But every time he checked, there was no issue. The toaster wasn't even plugged in. They replaced it anyway, but the smell persisted, coming and going at random, often stronger in the evenings. 2.5 years later, she was diagnosed with Lewy body dementia. A large study revealed that phantom industrial odors, like burning rubber, melted plastic, or electrical fires, frequently appear in people developing dementia caused by unusual protein buildup, particularly alpha-synuclein, which disrupts normal brain signaling. These scents are often sharp, strange, and unsettling, which is exactly why they tend to show up early, before other symptoms appear. Unfortunately, they're often brushed off as stress, anxiety, or simple sensitivity to the environment, until the real cause becomes impossible to ignore. Number 6. Raw sewage or wastewater. 2 years before her dementia diagnosis, Eleanor, 76, became convinced her plumbing was failing. She kept noticing a smell like sewage or toilet water, especially near the sink or even in bed. Her son called a plumber, twice. Still, no issue was ever found. The odor consumed her thoughts and left her feeling isolated. Studies show that phantom scents like sewage, waste, or rot are tied to the brain's declining ability to detect and filter odors correctly. This becomes clearer as regions responsible for emotional interpretation begin to weaken. The smell isn't just unpleasant, it's deeply unsettling, creating a growing gap between what the senses pick up and what the brain understands. It's often mistaken for poor hygiene, anxiety, or even hallucinations. But in truth, these phantom odors are neurological warning signs, especially when they keep returning without a clear reason. If you've made it this far, you're clearly serious about protecting your health. To show you're following along and ready for more brain health tips, type 1 in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Your support helps us reach more people searching for simple, science-backed health solutions. Number 7. Blood or rusty metal. Vincent, 72, started saying his meals smelled like blood or tasted metallic. He eventually stopped eating meat, convinced something was wrong. He described the odor as metallic, like coins or a nosebleed, especially around sinks and silverware. After several cognitive tests, doctors diagnosed him with early-stage Alzheimer's. A major study found that phantom metallic smells, like blood, rust, or iron, are strongly connected to problems in the brain's memory networks, particularly the hippocampus and nearby olfactory regions. This symptom is especially concerning because it often appears alongside changes in taste, causing appetite loss, food aversion, and nutritional decline. When this kind of smell keeps recurring, it's not just odd, it's a warning sign of neurodegeneration quietly progressing before anyone realizes it. Number 8. Unidentifiable off odors. 2 years before her Alzheimer's diagnosis, Patricia, 79, struggled to describe what she was smelling. She only knew that something felt off. She mentioned it over and over, but couldn't explain it clearly. Studies show that people in the early stages of dementia often report a strange, vague odor they can't identify, something scientists call an olfactory distortion. This happens when the olfactory cortex and limbic system, which connects smells to emotions and meaning, begin to deteriorate. When these regions weaken, the brain knows something is wrong, but can't pinpoint what. The result is a mysterious, lingering scent with no clear source or name. It's unsettling, constant, and impossible to forget once it appears. Number 9. Phantom perfume or sweet floral scents. Lucille, 80, began noticing perfume in empty rooms, a smell she described as shifting, sometimes like roses, sometimes like talcum powder, or an old-fashioned fragrance. Her doctor thought it might be tied to grief or nostalgia, but within 2 years, she began struggling to recognize faces and places, and was eventually diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia. Recent studies suggest that phantom floral or perfume-like odors are linked to temporal lobe damage, an area of the brain that mixes smell with memory and emotion. What makes these scents especially haunting is how personal they feel, like the faint memory of someone you once knew but can't quite recall. They can trigger nostalgia, confusion, or even fear, and are often dismissed until more obvious symptoms emerge. Most people assume they're imagining it, but in reality, these scents don't come from the air. They come from the brain, already showing signs of change. The sooner you notice them, the more time you have to act, because once memory starts to fade, your window for intervention begins to close. By that point, it's more than a smell. It's the echo of time running out. If you haven't already, pause for a moment and subscribe for practical, science-backed brain health tips. Turn on notifications so you'll be first to know when we share new ways to detect the earliest signs of dementia and keep your mind sharp. What did you find most surprising or helpful in this video? Share your thoughts, questions, or personal experiences in the comments below. We genuinely love hearing from you. And if you found this helpful, please share it with someone you care about, because caring for each other's health starts with sharing knowledge. Your feedback inspires us to keep creating clear, practical health videos for you and for everyone working to protect their mind and memory.